have been satisfied with just the opening credits to the Watchmen movie. The Bob Dylan song, Times Are Changing, they just kind of, they glance over a large chunk of the comic book in that section and just really just show the evolution of the superhero from, you know, a bunch of guys dressing up and a bunch of cops dressing up after hours and beating up on thugs to, you know, the actual creation of giant blue glowing Dr. Manhattan.
Zack Snyder's Watchmen this was like another movie I was terrified of because it was like everybody, I mean the book is like, it's an encyclopedia, right, as far as comic books go. It's pretty dense, lots of other stuff to read, and there's a lot of plot, lots of stuff going on, lots of threads weaving, and unless you were going to do like a 24 part TV miniseries with each episode being 2+ hours, you can't do Watchmen properly. So that was a little terrifying to me. But it was like, he got it. Like, I think he got the high, it was like 2 hours, 2+ hours, 2.5 maybe. And I was really nicely done.
I think the book is far and away better than the movie. But I thought, you know, for taking that concept and making a movie out of it, I thought they did a very good job. I thought the casting was good. I thought the tone was good. But it's I don't know, it's long, and I don't know that I want to sit through it multiple times.
I like the comic book. It was a bit of a slog. I mean, those colors itself, I mean, I was not a big fan of the 80s. I got through that book because I had to get through that book. But the colors in that, I liked how they updated it. I liked the uniforms. You certainly couldn't use the uniforms they had in that book these days. I liked how they changed the ending, because that comic book, I mean, Alan Moore's a genius, but there's a terrible price to be paid to be a genius.
My one qualm is I am one of the few people that's a huge fan of the ending of the comic, instead of how the movie ended, because, I don't know, something is just so ridiculously awesome about a giant octopus alien space monster falling from space, and that's the reason why there's just something so comic booky and so just insane about it that it worked. Like, the movie ending worked, but the comic ending was just great.
Dr. Manhattan was cool, like a blue naked guy walking around all movie.
I mean, I guess there was just a little too much. Well, nothing little about it. There's a big wing, kind of like blue, coming at you a lot. I think they were making it. I think maybe he could have fit maybe a few more of those more deeply woven plot points in there if he wouldn't have spent so much time, you know, getting to some wing shots. Maybe a little less of those. Some fewer wing shots, but other than that.
Watchmen the movie, I thought it was fantastic. It wasn't the graphic novel because, well, then it would have been 14 hours long. But, you know, the way they fit it into the time frame that they did, it was visually beautiful. You know, I mean, you got to see a lot of blue ween. That was kind of a little too much, but still, you know, it was fantastic. It was a great movie. It was put together well, and it was really well done.
This is where I'd say something about Blue Dong, but...
Blackest Night is easily one of the coolest events to ever happen in the comic book universe. I mean, first, greatly expanded the entire Green Lantern, you know, mythos with, you know, you added the Red Lanterns, you had the Orange Lanterns, my personal favorite, the Yellow Lanterns, and you had Indigo, you have all that. They almost came together to summon Captain Planet, which apparently is the only thing that can beat Death. And then you also have, you know, people getting deputized during the Blackest Night. You have Lex Luthor getting an Orange Lantern ring, which is fueled by greed. Really sweet. You got Mira, which is Aquaman's wife, getting the Red Lantern ring because she's so upset that Aquaman is now currently a zombie. And then, of course, you have Dexter, which is probably one of my favorite characters in comic books. It's just a nice little kitty cat. Gets a Red Lantern ring and starts just killing pretty much everything with blood puke. And how can you possibly ever go wrong with a rage-imbued kitten? Ever.
Blackest Night was cool. Unfortunately, after Blackest Night, it was everything that Green Lantern did was a giant event. And there was like a new book, like his books then became events. And I had to stop. I used to be a huge Green Lantern fan, and then I stopped reading Green Lantern because it was too much Green Lantern, and I couldn't take it anymore. And everything was a major to-do with Green Lantern, and nobody cared, and he wanted a lot of attention, and I didn't want to give him that attention anymore.
Blackest Night, the thing that got me on that, zombie Aquaman. How can you possibly go wrong with zombie Aquaman?
It was cool that, okay, it's a really great concept that there are all these other different, these like sort of like subdimensional energies. I mean, if they can draw like the collected emotional energy of will somehow, it makes sense that there are all these other powers out there. So that's was pretty clever, I think.
Blackest Night, I thought Martin Lawrence was really good in that one. Not my standard comedy I go for, but it was watchable.
Yeah, my favorite character getting deputized Scarecrow, which I really think they should do more in the comics. I mean, if DC Comics is listening out there right now, they should give me a call, and I will write Scarecrow as a Sinestro Corps member for free.